What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is doing well. Today's video is going to be a little vlog ski slash ramp tutorial. I built a few ramps. I'm feeling confident. I'm at the Home Depot right now. Some other stuff has kind of come up. I'll show that when it's necessary. But I can now make a giant kicker ramp. So we're going to make just a giant ramp. That's kind of my goal here. I'm talking like 3 or 4 feet tall, giant kicker ramp. It should be a lot of fun. I got to get the supplies I need, get to where I'm going to build it and set up, but let's do it.
Everybody say it with me. That ass. That ass.
Alright, just left the Home Depot here. We're heading over to the special spot. The sun is out. Temperatures are rising. Should be a nice little afternoon. Forgot a couple of things as I forgot my list in the truck, but I'm going to have to go back out. Paint was very expensive, so I wanted to paint the ramps, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do the job I want to do, so we'll see what happens. I got some primer, Mrs. Propaganda. She's gonna paint the other ramps while I build the new one. That's kind of our goal today. So she's gonna make a separate video for that. And yeah, so we're gonna head over to this place, get all set up, and we'll see you guys shortly. Alright, so we're all set up. I got all my supplies all out. I got everything ready, and now it's time to get to work. So this is like the tutorial portion, I guess, of the video. So I'll show you kind of the steps if you're interested in making your own kicker ramp. It's not going to be super detailed, be the bare bones kind of what you need to do. I'll show you how I manipulate a metal rod to get the curve right, and as I said earlier, I'm going to build a giant ramp. So I'm talking about maybe waist height on me, so we're talking 4 feet or something like that. So I'm definitely going to go, you know, a good 3.5 4 feet. I'll figure it out. I'm going to lay down some measurements and cut the sides out first. Then we'll move to the 2x4s, and I'll show you all the steps in between. But I mean, it's really simple. You just cut out your curve, trace it, cut out the second one, put a couple screws in there, and you build a little frame, put another piece on the top, and boom. It's pretty simple, and you can get pretty creative with it. I built Monster Jam ramps, and now I'm going to move on to this big kicker ramp and try to just get something really big. I can leave it here where I'm at. I'm not really too worried. I'm going to try to make it as big as I can with the amount of wood that I have. So let's just get to work. Okay, so I got my plywood, and this is what I'm using here. I just got this little thin piece of metal at Home Depot. I still got the tag on it. It was very cheap, and you can use it and manipulate it like so. Let's aim you down here. So yeah, so you can manipulate and really get whatever kind of curve you want on your ramp. Now this thing here is almost not long enough for my ramp because I'm gonna go the full size of my plywood this way, 4 foot. So my ramp will be 4 feet. I'm just not sure how long to make it. So I'm gonna mess around here, drawing my curve like this with the metal, and we'll see what I come up with. Okay, so I think I got my curve down. So what I did is I took that rod and then I just held it in a couple of spots with some screws so I could manipulate my curve. So if I want some more, you know, I could pull it way in, and really I don't have to worry so much about that. I already got a straight line kind of how I want it, so it will come up nice and then it'll just have a nice pop to it. So I think the middle one I got here is good. It should be perfect. I think where I had it right here might be a little bit too much pop. I think right here should be good. I'm hoping that the curve is okay. It's very hard to kind of judge exactly how much curve you're going to put into your ramp until you actually have it cut out. So take your time with this step and look at it and really think how much pop you need, like, you know, so you can manipulate it. You can make more right here. You know, my pop kind of starts in the middle of the ramp if I measured over 2 feet, which is kind of like where this screw is. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm having the angle. I'm still going back and forth on these two lines, but that's how I achieved it. It's super simple. Just get yourself one of these rods, screw a few screws in. You can really play around because you're going to want to, you know, make the curve good. You don't want too much. It's going to send you too crazy, and then you don't want enough. You're just kind of not going to get any pop. So I'm sure there's a math way to do this. You can get angles and everything, but this is how I'm doing it. So it's pretty simple, and you'll get some good results. You just got to, you know, take your time with it and get the exact curve on the ramp that you want. All right, so I got my layout all set and it's ready to cut. So if you are doing this, you're going to need some saws. If you don't have anything, there's definitely a lot of options out there. You can get just like a cheap jigsaw that plugs into the wall, and it will probably work for this project. Just make sure you get some different blades to switch out. Like I like to use a rip blade to cut the 2x4s. That makes it a little bit easier. But I'm doing all of this with just a jigsaw. Obviously, you know, if you had a circular saw and a table saw and stuff, it would make some better cuts. But these are just RC ramps. No one's going to skate on them. So as long as they're pretty close, they actually will be just fine. For me, what I did is I needed some tools anyway. I went ahead and I really wanted some cordless tools that run off of batteries. Obviously, I'm into RC, so the battery technology has gotten better. I don't want to go into it too much, but I picked up these Ridgid tools. Now, my research, these are basically pretty solid tools. They should last. I didn't have to spend a whole lot. You don't have to go too crazy. For me, I wanted something that would last and I could use multiple times. So I went ahead and I got into the Ridgid system. I didn't quite have the money to get a circular saw. I kind of had to piece this kit together with what they had, and they were giving a jigsaw away for free. So I got like 4 tools and 2 batteries for like $300 or something like that. So I've been doing all my cutting with this jigsaw. It works great, and it's all you need for this project. Obviously, the more tools, the better, but I'm getting by with these, and it's been great for me. Just like I said, make sure you pick up some blades. So enough about my tools. That's what I'm working with. If it interests you, ask me down in the comments and I'll answer any tool questions that you have. But I'm all ready to make my cut, so I'm going to put the camera down and you'll see how I do this cut. This is the hardest part. Once you get that curve on the first one, it's just a matter of tracing out and making one more cut, and then we can move on to kind of framing it up. So I'm going to get to cutting. All right, so as you can see, this is really big, which is okay because I got some stuff I want to do in future videos that are going to require a giant ramp. That curve is actually pretty dang good. I was going to go with the second one. I should have. So right here, I mean, yeah, it's pretty big. What are you going to do? Go big or go home, baby. Look at the size of this thing. So we're going to get this traced up. So you just trace this one onto the next piece, and then you just put your 2x4s in between and brace it before you put on that the ramp surface, which is another sheet of plywood. It's actually really simple. once you start doing it, it all kind of makes more sense. So I'm gonna trace this out, and then I'll move on. I'll cut it out, and then I'll move on to the 2x4s, and I'll show you how you get those all set up so you can join the two sides and really start seeing how your ramp's gonna shape up. So if you take and you flip the first one over, you can save half the board. Now this isn't probably going to be big enough, but at least I still have another nice sheet of plywood I can do something with. I have a nice square piece, as opposed to if I were to put it on this edge. It's just a little tip my friend who's a carpenter showed me when he built me my first ever ramp, and it just comes in handy if you want to save some wood. So I just figured I'd pass that tip along. You can just flip it over on the first side and get a whole nother piece. So saving wood is always good. This sheet was just under 30 bucks, so it's always nice to save a little money. So a little tip, if you want to try to get a nice straight cut with your jigsaw or even a circular saw, I put the saw in and then I put my level there with these clamps, and you just line it up so you get your level nice and straight, and then you can push your saw up against something to get a straighter cut. You know, if you care about that kind of stuff, I'm trying to get as straight cut as I can. I do want it to look, you know, a little bit professional, not complete hack job. Okay, so I used those clamps after I was done, clamped them together, tried to get it as square as I could. I had to do a little trimming on the curve, so that way they were matching a little bit better, so that way it's just overall better. And then once I got them pretty close, I like to just take a sander. This is just like an orbital sander, and just kind of, you know, sand out the shape and get any heavy splinters off from the cutting, so it's a little better when you're going ahead and assembling the rest. So the curve part is all ready. Look at the size of that thing. Holy crap. This is going to be a big ramp. So next up is deciding how wide you're going to want your ramp. So that will depend on how many 2x4s you buy, but if you do the math beforehand, then you're good. So some of them are like 8-footers. It depends. So let me see here. What I like to do is, see, these are 92 inches. So if you go 30, 30 is 90. So you could make the ramp 30 inches wide. But I kind of want to go a little wider than that. But I got to make sure I have enough. Okay, so after some careful consideration, I have 8 foot of board. So I would like to make it not too wide because I don't want it to be too heavy. But see, you know, I'm not going to be moving it around a lot. I'm going to make it pretty wide so it's easier to hit, because I'm going to want to hit it with some speed. So I'm going to go 42 inches wide, and that will be 84 inches. So I'll only be wasting a little bit on each piece. So I think I have enough to get it how I want it. So I'm going to go ahead, get these marked out, and start cutting my 2x4s, and then we can get this thing framed up, and then I think it'll be lunchtime. Okay, so here's what we got so far. We got our 2 pieces of plywood cut for the curve, and that's the sides of the ramp. And now we have our stack of 2x4s. I wound up going 43 inches. I think that'll be plenty wide, and it maximizes almost all of the wood, so I'm not wasting much, and it will still fit into the back of my truck here. I didn't want to go too wide. Next step is to get these 2x4s screwed in and kind of get a frame built up. So what you got to do is you just got to put these kind of like this, and the sides on each side obviously, and these just go in between as like a brace. So it's pretty simple. So I'll get it kind of all done, and then I'll explain how I did it once it's done. Okay, so I kind of messed up. So I cut the top off, and it will create this nice little shelf on the top anyway. So it's got a little overhang off the curve. So like if I were to cut this straight, you know, you could imagine that's what it was. Now it's got a nice little backing, so it won't fall over as easy if something heavier were to hit it, you don't have to worry so much with RC. But that extra little lip that I had on the top was way too tall. I don't know if you saw it before I flipped it over. And, you know, so now I got that curve on the top, and being as tall as it is, it should give a nice launch. I kind of had too much on it, so I just cut the top off. So sometimes you have to emphasize, I can't say that word, but yeah, I fixed it up, and now I can get the rest of my braces in. So you can see I'm kind of boxing it up here. So you just put those there, and then I'll put the other ones on the curve. You'll see when I have those all in place. So you know, I have to add a couple. It all depends. This is pretty strong. I still think I'll put one more in the middle, but it's coming along. All right, so I got the ramp all framed up, but I'm hungry, so we're gonna go grab some lunch first, and then we're gonna come back, finish the ramp up. And just like anything, when you get it done, you gotta test it. So I will be testing this ramp when it's all done, so stay tuned to the end, and you'll be able to see my MT 4x4 go whee! All right, so just got done eating my lunch, went to the Walmart, got some paint. Mrs. Propaganda is doing her video and ramps over there, so she's gonna be finishing up that. And all I have to do is add a few more braces and then do a little trimming on our piece for the actual ramp part of the ramp. So I'm gonna bring it in here and just kind of show you a couple more things before I button it up. Okay, so you can see here's the main thing. So now I need to cut some more of these 2x4s for right here, and that's the ramp service, and that's what this piece is for here. We're gonna bend that on there and hopefully get some good air. Here's Mrs. Propaganda. I almost fell in this hole here. Here's Mrs. Propaganda doing her thing, painting up some ramps for me. She's making her own like kind of video for the first time, trying to do her own thing. I gave her a camera and said, show me what you got. So all these ramps will be painted when this one is done. So keep an eye out for her video. I'll get that out. Look at how dirty she gets. Nice. All right, here we go. It's all set, all boxed in, braced. I got all of these as support, so I'm using like almost a 1/4 inch thick plywood. If you wanted to use something thinner to keep the weight down, there's some other options. I forget exactly what it's called, but you could use good 1/4 inch on the sides, and then if you used extra 2x4s, you could put the braces very close and leave very little gap in between on the thicker board, and it'd keep the weight down if that was something that you were interested in doing. For this kind of ramp, you know, I'm going really big and everything, this doesn't really matter. I'm gonna keep it here. I'm not concerned about weight. I do want it to be thick and hold up, but it's not a major issue. But there are some thinner woods you could use if weight is something you want to consider in your build. Okay, so here it is from this side right here. You can see I got these braces here. I got 3 across the bottom and 3 across the back. I just realized how crooked this one is, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a brace. I felt that it could use it. So once you get this step all done, now all you need to do is get the surface on. So that's what's next. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little test fit, do a little measuring, and see exactly what I have to cut off of the piece I have. Okay, so I kind of got it on there. Getting the wood to curve is a little hard. You can see I'm a little wide here, so I'm just gonna trim that after. And I sort of got it, but something I want to show you is, so you know where to put the screws. Let's see, yeah, there it is. See where my finger is, there's a line. So I went ahead, I marked the middle of all those 2x4s in the middle, so I'll know exactly where to put them. And then what I do is I use a chalk line, I line it up, and I'll snap a line on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my lines all snapped so I know exactly where the center of all my boards are, so I can get my screws in nicely. All right, so I got it built, but I'm not too happy with it. I think it's too steep here at the bottom, and when my truck hits, I didn't make the sides long enough. I should have made it a little longer, I guess, but I don't know, I thought it would be. You can kind of see here, see this? My takeoff is just too much. I think the truck isn't gonna like it, but I'm gonna put a few more screws in it and then test it with my MT, see how it is. Might just be a dud, but that kind of sucks because I spent a lot of money in wood today, but you live and learn. So I'm gonna button it up and then test it. All right, so did some trimming. Just wanted to trim up some of these edges. So I got that all set, and now it is ready for some sand. I get it all sanded up, and then we're gonna test it. Actually, I gotta put on this piece, I think, right here first. All right, here we go. I'm on the head. I got the MT 4x4. Something doesn't sound right. It's hard to tell. Yeah, something's not right with this truck. Huh. Well, let's just try to hit the ramp once while this thing's moving at least. Okay. Oh. I'm not sure what this thing's doing here. You can hear it making some weird noises. Oh, wow, the brakes are super sensitive. Launched it though. Okay. Oh, truck doesn't handle good at all in the air. Oh. Huh. Don't see anything broke. All right, I'm gonna go all out. Here we go. Woo-hoo-hoo! Goes high. All right, well, the truck is hitting the ramp pretty good. I don't know, it just feels funny. And I don't know if it's the dirt I'm driving on, but the truck just felt weird. I don't know if it's the motor. Oh, I see. So, oh, I broke a sway bar pretty bad. Oh, wow, I actually, huh. Oh, just, no, I think I broke a sway bar right here, yeah. Not a big deal. I actually have another one because I needed the little pieces. So I flexed it too hard or something. Maybe that was getting jammed up in there. Well, all right, guys. I'm gonna start cleaning up my mess here. Overall, the ramp's okay. It's definitely usable. I think the bottom pieces need to be a little longer before the pop. I don't know. I could have made those pieces a little bit different. I'm not sure. You know, I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty happy with it. It did launch the Pro line pretty good. I think maybe another truck, because I can't really use that on the Losi. That's too much. So it is what it is, but I think I am going to get the EXB crate, and I think it's been calling my name Maybe I'll take the electronics out of this and use that and then sell this as a roller. I'm not sure, but I'll have to wait and see what goes on in my head. But I gotta help Mrs. Propaganda finish up painting, so that's what I'm gonna do after I clean up here. Really appreciate you guys watching. I kind of want to make it more of a tutorial, but it didn't really turn out that way. That's why I kind of like making a vlog. I can kind of just shoot from the hip, you know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. So I mean, I did kind of touch on how to do it, so if you got any questions about it, leave it down in the comments and let me know, and I'll take care of those questions for you if I can. But until the next video, I'll see you guys next time.